I did a lot of that on the iPad 'cause it's a little bit easier to do that. But here, let's.
You ready?
Yeah, let's. So we got the clap. What? This is hops, Shape of Hops to Come. That's kind of a jazzy thing, isn't it?
Hops to Come.
The Shape of Jazz to Come. Was that Ornette Coleman?
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
That is a neat one.
There you go, dude.
Founders.
Yeah.
Succumb Topaz Citrus.
Dude.
Succumb Topaz.
I hate citrus.
So you haven't had this before?
I have not. I got it yesterday. I bought this yesterday when I was out at Morning Beers.
Morning Beers.
Got this yesterday when I was over at West End. I was teaching over there, and I had a break. Imagine that. So I ran over and picked up some beers. How is this?
Very citrusy. I'm surprised you picked it up.
It's okay. It's okay. It's near.
There is like a good amount of hops in that.
There is. It kind of balances in. Even says Imperial IPA, fine hops, not to be confused with shitty hops, right?
Yeah.
So, welcome to Morning Beers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is the morning. And
Yep.
These are beers.
Yeah, we still have time. It's still morning.
It's still morning. Close enough. We're pushing the envelope these days, right? We're really pushing the envelope. Do we want to do cans or do we want to do glasses?
Let's do cans for these, and we'll save the glasses for when we bust out some of this Weyerbacher beer.
We got some Weyerbacher. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm Easton native,
yeah, true,
so therefore I'm going to support the local beer.
There you go. I don't know where this is from. Well, this is from Pennsylvania as well, apparently. You see that Nesquehamming or Nesquehamming Creek, whatever it's PA. It says
Oh yeah,
PA
right there.
on there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see it.
There we go.
Croydon, PA. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm gonna get thumbs down me for saying Croydon.
I think. Well, let's address that, can we?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Because we talked about it last time. It looks like we got 4 thumbs down and 8 thumbs up and 160 views.
Okay.
Which is great. We need more views. The thumbs up, thumbs down, do whatever you want to do. I don't know about you. I don't really care.
No, it doesn't matter. A reaction's better than nothing.
Yeah. So there's 156 views, and I refuse to believe that there was only 10 people that watched it 150 times. So if you're on there, do something.
Yeah.
Make a comment.
Anything doesn't matter.
Is there something that you want to see? Is there something that you want to hear about? I noticed that you did some cropping on that too, Shawn.
I did.
Let's not do that anymore. Let's just go forward. Let's make this as low budget and lo-fi as we can because we're already there.
True. We'll just let it ride.
So, I don't know. What are we talking about today? What do we got?
I've been thinking about this for a while. What are your thoughts for the perfect vehicle for a working musician?
Like a car?
Well, yes, it has 4 wheels and it gets you from point A to point B.
Motorcycle won't work real well.
No, I don't recommend ever getting a motorcycle if you're a musician.
The perfect vehicle, wow. Are we using hoity-toity terms here instead of
automobile?
Automobile. I mean, are we talking about the perfect vehicle to get you playing, or what is the perfect vehicle for a musician to kind of
because so I'll paint you a picture. So I've been driving just a sedan, Honda Civic.
You mean actual vehicle?
Actual vehicle.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, this is not no hyperboles, no metaphors here. Literal vehicle takes gas.
Oh, hatchback, dude.
Yeah.
Hatchback. You need if you're a bass player, and you definitely need a hatchback. I mean that is definitely part of that because let me do something here real quick. Sorry, I'm gonna step off screen for a second.
Oh.
So it was just a little too loud, and I think would actually kind of bring things down. But,
yeah.
So perfect vehicle. I mean, you do have a sedan, and you have a regular trunk, right?
That one's a regular trunk. The seats fold down. I used to have a hatchback.
Yeah, you used to have one of those Fits, right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what,
Fit.
That thing was awesome.
It was, but I mean, it says I don't know, the Honda Fit.
Listen. All right, it's small, but I was able to fit a full bass rig and PA system. Yeah, I know. That joke never gets old.
Never gets old.
But yeah, I was able to put the bass rig in there, my bass, and a full PA system in the back seat, and be able to fit another person in there as well. That car lived up to its name.
Well, it was like a micro station wagon.
Yeah,
is what it was. But I mean, it's kind of funny because I always thought those Fits as kind of being I was thinking of my high school kids when they had those. It was like, but I mean, an adult musician is kind of like living like a high school kid in a lot of ways.
We are children in many ways.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that. I think a hatchback is definitely the way to go, especially if you're a bass player or you're playing an upright bass, because you can't. Getting that into a sedan, you have to do like the back door, side door, angle, and then turn.
Sure.
Which is like
I was able to get
side doors.
I was able to get upright in the sedan, but it's like you have to put the front seat or the passenger seat all the way back down and then wheel the body in.
Well, you have to go in from the driver's side back door, angle it in over the gear shift, and then.
Oh yeah, it's got to go over the driver's door in there. But I was going through the passenger door and then swooping in that way.
You can't do it that way.
Well, I was able to.
It's hard. I mean, that's really hard. I always found that it was easier to go at an angle because then you could open each door, put it in an angle, and then kind of turn and then lay it on the seat with the headstock pointing down.
Sure.
So it'd be like, it's like almost like flying with it, which was kind of interesting. It was an interesting way to get there.
Because like the reason I think about that is because the fact that we're not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's like. SUVs are kind of like are tough on gas and stuff like that. A lot of them are. And like unless you spend a lot of money on like a Honda like SUV or something like that, where you might get a little bit better gas mileage.
But even then you'd have to spend a lot more money to get a hybrid.
Yeah,
that's gonna get you there. Honestly,
you want to be in debt forever?
No, I mean
because of that.
Well, that's a really great question because when you think about like being a working musician, you have to get your debt ratio so low that you can actually survive. I mean, it's realistic. Mm-hmm. I saw that a friend of ours posted something on Facebook because Facebook is all about open minds and good things.
Yeah, and nobody complains on there. Nobody bashes you for your opinions. It's a really safe space. It
is. You have your own opinion. Don't worry about what other people think. Because they won't come back and argue with you at all, especially political opinions. Don't worry, be as different as you want to be. Oh, I hate fucking Facebook. Facebook is the nightmare, but it's almost, as a musician, you have to use it to stay in touch and also to network.
Right.
But a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours on Facebook posted like, how many hours would does it take to be a professional?
I saw that.
And because you actually
I liked your response.
I said it's not about as a professional musician. Again, this goes back to our Lehigh Valley thing. Faking it in New York and having all these other sources of income is great. And here you have to have multiple sources of income to survive, and you have to get your debt ratio down. A friend of mine who lives in San Diego, Kevin Freeby, awesome bass player, phenomenal bass player, one of my longtime friends, awesome guy, incredible. He's been playing in like basically a corporate band, and they fly him. They flew him to Chicago, they fly him to Vegas. He's actually making a good living for once, but he's playing pop music.
Sure.
That's what you have to do. I mean, you can't just say, well, you know what? My art is everything, and I'm going to support myself off my art. You are a fucking moron, and you are living a childish fantasy. Let's be honest, right? That's a fantasy. You have to figure out ways to make other sources of income work, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to either, like we said last time, you either have to have another gig, which is like something outside of the arts, where you're trying to make it work. You're teaching, you're doing something that also brings in income, because gigging is not going to do it alone. It just isn't. I saw somebody even post on there, I'm gigging, 14 hours a week in the Poconos in the Lehigh Valley. I'm like, dude, where in your parents' basement are you living?
Right, yeah, because gigging 14 hours, what could you possibly be making? Like, if it was 3-hour gigs, you're looking at like, what, 4? So the math doesn't even work out for that.
No, he's playing in a metal band. I saw that. I was like, really?
You made please allow me. If you're in a metal band, you're not making any money at all. You're selling merch, and then you're just paying for gas to get to that gig. That's it.
Did I use the word originals?
Original's even worse. Even worse in that sense.
He's not making any money. Let's be honest. Like, what tomfoolery is this?
Yeah.
What magic is this?
I want to see him. I want to meet somebody in an original metal band that is able to keep the lights on at their house.
that isn't touring nationwide.
Yeah. Send us a message. We'd like to meet you.
Yeah. We'll have you on the show. And you can just disprove us, and we'll get you drunk.
We'll buy you a beer.
Yeah. Of course, it might be after the morning period. But, yeah, it's interesting because that guy, like his whole scheme is about, you know, getting people excited, which is great because you need to be excited about what you're doing, and that's really important. But at the same time, you have to be realistic about what you're doing. And there's no shame in the game to say, hey, you know what? I got another gig. I can't take this gig, which, you know, I got a call for a gig on a Saturday. Guess what? I'm already booked on the Saturday because I have to do this other thing to make sure that I have my other nights available so I can work those gigs. Mm-hmm. It's as an adult, not living in your parents' basement, playing gigs, it's kind of like you gotta figure out what works and what's gonna pay. If it's a gig that only pays you $75 and you're not going to your non-arts gig that pays you $150 for that time that you're there, that's kind of a bad move, right?
Right.
And I mean that almost brings me to the topic that you and I talked about, because you posted something the other day, was like, hey, this bullshit place that I was booked at fucking bailed on me last minute. It was a deal that was already set, right?
Yep, it's already set. They reached out to us actually the night before, preemptively saying, hey, we might end up canceling the gig. That's already telling me that you plan on canceling the gig. Don't say that. Just don't say that. And first off, like, I really wish that, like, bands, not only in the Lehigh Valley, but also, like, throughout, like, the nation would just just take the initiative of doing contracts, or even, like, just, like, verbal agreements or something in the email where it's like, hey, if you're gonna cancel within 24 hours notice, you have to at least do a 50% deposit on the band. Like, something, because our time is valuable. Like, some of us really value the fact that we have to, like, that money is going to buy food for our families or anything like that. And when they just say, like, oh, well, fuck you. You
canceled your other gig, your other job.
Yeah. My teaching gig where I'm guaranteed to get paid.
Well, it's teaching.
It's teaching.
Let's call that what it is.
All right.
It sometimes pays.
Yes, my teaching gig, where if I have students, I'm getting paid.
And it is summer, so there's a good chance that there aren't students.
Yes, but that day I had students. I had like 5 students lined up, and I canceled that day because I was going to make more money at this gig. And here I shot myself in the foot.
Well,
so what did I learn?
I don't know. Well, you're gonna try it again. We don't learn anything. That's the whole point. That's why we're musicians. Well, you think about it, like, who else gets fucked over like we do? You know,
we're to where the venue doesn't even give a shit. They just like, well, you know, that's tough, but we're not gonna do it.
Well, let's be honest about the venue. What we mean by venue half the time is restaurant
and bars
and sometimes clubs and sometimes festivals.
Mm-hmm.
They're, you know, sometimes, but most of those gigs, especially in the Lehigh Valley, you're looking, depending on how many guys you have in the band, you're looking at a threshold between $75 and $150.
Yep.
Which really kind of sucks, you know, because that's a one wage that hasn't increased at all since the 70s.
That's always been a good topic.
Well, yeah, and it's one that we beat to death over and over again because everybody says the same things. Even from the old guys that I teach with, I teach with a guy named Chip who played like through the 60s, the 70s, pretty well-known drummer, played all over, used to play all these different clubs because you used to play the Italian club or the Portuguese club, or you'd play any of these different clubs that were bringing in bands and people were coming to see music. I think I saw Sean Rickman posted something about saying that, you know, even like people aren't playing instruments, and he said he reached out, he's like, all right, black people, he's like, don't let them take rock and roll from us because rock and roll is an African American invention. It is, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And he's like, why aren't we playing instruments? And you know, we need people to kind of come back and start playing instruments again. We need people to be into music.
Well, just thinking about like 60s and 70s and making the same amount of money, like, you know, if each guy was getting $150 back in like the 60s and the 70s, like for a gig,
yeah.
Well, that was the one gig you had to play that week. You had the rest of the week off.
Yeah,
you did good that week.
Yeah.
That was a good payday.
Well,
you know?
People were working. I mean, they worked a lot. Sure. Like my dad used to work constantly in the scene. You know, he was constantly playing.
Sure.
He was able to survive. I mean, it wasn't ideal. I mean, being a musician and having a family is not an ideal scenario. You know, if you get an opportunity to go on the road, you know, it's not an ideal scenario because in the end, somebody is left back at home holding the bag. You know, so how do we make our area viable for musicians to actually stay here and be able to support yourself?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
That is the question. How?
I mean, you got a little girl, so I'm sure you don't want to be gone for, 3-4 months at a time.
No,
or even 2 or 3 weeks at a time. It's rough.
Yeah, like, if I had to do that, it would definitely be hard. It would be hard to leave for that amount of time and then and then come back and then have to go and do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Well, I know Bakiti, he just got back from his Paul Simon gig, and I just saw he posted something. I gotta get in touch with him because, he
have him do a morning beer.
He should. He doesn't drink though, I think.
He can have a coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll say it's Irish coffee.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to know that.
Nah. But he's a guy, like, he's a workhorse. I mean, that dude is always out on the road as much as he can because that's the way he makes his living.
Sure.
There's a lot of guys like that, and it's hard. I mean, to stay more focused on what we're looking at here,
Sure.
How do we make this a more viable scene? Especially because we know that Bakiti lives here,
Yeah.
and he always says that. He's like, why isn't there a scene here? There's so many musicians here. Why isn't there a scene? I think part of it's because of this.
Could be.
You can't drive home after you have one.
bunch of bitter old men, Well, that too, like the fact that everything's so spread out in the Lehigh Valley too.
Yeah.
You think like the Lehigh Valley seems like it's rather small, like a 20-mile radius, really, of like what is considered like Lehigh Valley.
It's actually huge.
Well,
it's the third biggest metropolitan area in Pennsylvania.
Whoa!
Yeah, it really is. When you think about what the Lehigh Valley actually encompasses, it's a huge area because it's got 3 different cities that are actually in it, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's true. Mm-hmm.
So we do have a large metropolitan area. It's just spread out.
Right.
Kind of like how Los Angeles is spread out, But not as hip or cool. Don't you know? We do have... And that's another problem for us is we have a whole bunch of old heads that live around here that kind of prevent the scene from actually being cool as well. Broski.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of guys who they pull the scene down, like they are preventive.
Well,
excuse me.
There's a few of those like old heads that are just like kind of like lingering around the valley, not really up for change and stuff like that. And like I don't know how you feel about this, but like the whole like the jazz community.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I'm getting at?
The jazz mafia.
That's it.
Yeah, it's funny because there's the insiders and there's the outsiders.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really, really good outsiders. But these insiders, I mean, they are so tight on who is in that inner circle and preventive of anybody actually being part of that they've basically killed the scene. Mm-hmm. They've worked so hard to be preventative and to be the scene, they've killed the scene.
Well, I would say that their interpretation of what like the jazz community is so like narrow and so like so much tunnel vision that they're not open to new ideas and stuff like that. Like,
well, they don't play out at all. Like out of the changes. Like everything is. And what we're talking about is like a lot of these professors and stuff that are in the area. There's a few that are outside of that. And I'm not going to mention them, but there's a bunch that come from Moravian. There's some from Lafayette and Muhlenberg. We have actually, I think we have like 7 colleges in this area, and all of them have a music program. Yeah. And a lot of these guys, they don't play out. Like they've never listened to like Paul Bley. They've never listened to any of those guys that were like phenomenal out players. So everything is so much like it's like early days of swing. Like they don't play any of that out shit. And it's really sad because we have some amazing players who live here that live and breathe that, but we don't really get to hear from them. It's really sad. And then those guys come in and they basically ruin a scene.
Well, what was it? I think last year the Allentown Jazz Festival was headlined by a blues band.
Oh, yeah. Was that the one that the jazz lawyer put on?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was the 12 Bar Blues.
Tuck.
Yeah. Yeah. 12 Bar Blues is all night. Headlines a jazz festival.
Now, hold on. I get that. And
you see where I'm coming from? I'm not bashing. I'm just kind of pointing out the flaw in that logic.
There is a confusion now. That guy, the jazz lawyer, Brian Tuck.
Yes, yeah, I know Brian.
He's actually a really good drummer.
Yeah, I know Brian.
He's great. However, I think that the forces that be sometimes push into that blues realm because blues is a little bit more palatable and acceptable.
Well, yeah, people who don't understand music as much are more more into listening to blues and whatnot because like it's easier to process.
It is. It is. It's like that joke. It's like blues has 3 chords and 1,000 followers. Jazz has 1,000 chords and 3 followers.
3 followers, yeah.
So but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, there's some really great players out there like Bob Reynolds. Mm-hmm. That Bob Reynolds with Yannick Wissadala on there.
Sure.
Oh my God, what a great album that is.
Did you hear the new one?
I did. Did I tell you about that? I might have.
No, I knew about it because I follow Yannick and I follow Bob and I see when they release like the different stuff and like the new one's killer. Like but like the first not the first I think the first one that Bob did with Yannick. That one was great too. That one had like Creep and a bunch of other different things on it too.
Yeah.
That's an older one though.
It is. The new
both of them are
new
great.
One's pretty funky. What do you think of Kamasi Washington? That dude is fucking great, man. He is so good.
Which one was he?
Kamasi played his last album had Thundercat on it. This one is Miles Mosley is the bass player on it, but Kamasi is you got it. Stop this video right now and go put on Kamasi Washington.
I don't think I've heard this, so
maybe you got to check him out. Kamasi is killer.
Can we throw that on?
We can. Hold on. Yeah, this is a killer album. Every track is like 9 minutes long, so it's never gonna get any airplay.
Oh, okay.
But everybody knows that this is the new Kamasi album is awesome. He did a great job.
I'm definitely gonna look into that then.
That is killer, right? There's a part in here with there's a vocal line and it's an alto and a bass, and the way that they do that, like it's in unison, and it is just amazing. It blows my mind every single time I hear it. It's orgasmic, in fact.
Ooh.
I have to say, it's just fucking awesome.
Bonerific.
Bonerific. It always degrades to that for some reason. So if I may, because we're talking about you follow them on YouTube, right? Like Yannick and
oh yeah.
Can we talk about education real quick?
Yes.
Because I really wanted to touch on this, and I know this is kind of a left turn from the bitching that we were doing about the Valley and gigging and stuff like that.
No, it's fine. Left turns are fine.
And this is what we do on Morning Beers.
Yeah, Morning Beers, left turns.
It's fueled by hops.
We should have like a graphic that says left turn.
Hops of fury. Hops of fury. Instead of fists, hops of fury. I want to talk about some education platforms because I was really thinking about this the other day as I was teaching, and I thought, there's really 3 different options. There's self-taught, which is never really self-taught. It's book. You're basically learning from a book, or you're learning from some kind of like video source.
Right.
Then there is the teacher, like you're learning from a teacher at a university or something like that. And then there's these platforms on YouTube. Some are better than others. Mm-hmm. And let me say that there's some guys I really like, and I'm going to give a shout out right now to Adam Neely. Adam Neely, you are the fucking man.
He's killer.
I love you, dude. You always put together great stuff. And he doesn't really it's not how-to videos.
No,
it's question and answer, and he talks about things that are relevant.
But that's probably the coolest thing about what he does is people come to him with a question, and he goes so far down the rabbit hole that he goes to the origin of it.
Black MIDI.
And oh my god, like some of the stuff was ridiculous. Like it was the player piano one. The one was like it was like you're just going back and forth with like it was absolutely wild. But like I love watching his videos just for the fact that it's like a trippy kind of like educational experience.
Exactly. So let me stop for a second here and say, Adam Neely has a Patreon channel. Go support that. Subscribe to his channel right now. we want you to subscribe to Adam Neely. Yeah. Adam Neely is awesome.
He deserves it. He
does. Now, also besides Adam Neely, Rick Beato.
Oh,
Rick Beato's another one that you need to support. This is the stuff that we're doing is kind of nonsense.
This is bullshit.
We're just doing stuff. But Rick Beato and Adam Neely, both incredible guys that deserve your support.
They offer a lot to the YouTube community. They do so much information. They put out so much content, and like those are the guys that like if you're supporting their Patreon, kudos to you because they absolutely deserve every penny of that.
And those are some of the sources on YouTube that are actually educational. There's a lot of nonsense on YouTube, and there's a lot of like guys that are trying to seek out money from you for things that are nonsense. But YouTube is a source, like, and to kind of dial it back a little bit, when we think about like I mentioned, those 3 options for education.
Sure.
College is almost a useless, as a musician, college is almost a useless venture for you. It almost is. Mm-hmm. Because when you graduate from college with a music degree, who gives a shit? Other than the bank who's going to collect off of you for 20 fucking years. 20 years.
Did you just pay it off?
No, I still owe.
Oh, you still pay it? For some reason I thought you said that you just paid it off.
Dude, I wish, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to start a Patreon for you to pay off my loans.
Please support Steve in paying off his college debt.
Loans. Dude, 2001, I graduated, and I still have $26,000 on that, which means when you compile the interest, it's ridiculous.
That was probably like one year.
Well, it was about 1 year in Moravian, yeah. But you know, I went to Berkeley as well and gathered some other
like
stuff.
A semester.
Yeah, that's like not even. So college at this point is almost useless for a music major. Now there are other options. You know, I went, as soon as I graduated, I went into the city and started studying with, like, I took a lot of lessons with Matt Garrison.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Matt Garrison is awesome. I studied with Tony Gray, Tony Gray does a website as well. Tony Gray's an awesome bass player.
Yeah, he's got a lot of information, which is free. It's free to the public and whatnot. So
and somebody, you know, at Scott's bass lessons, apparently there's some history.
Scott Devine.
Yeah, I like Scott. No, don't get me wrong. I like Scott. I think Scott Devine is a great guy. I think he does some cool stuff. Please don't put it on there. You put that on the floor, but not on the Demeter.
We need a coffee table for empties.
I do. I need an empty strap. Because we were coming to you from the fine studio of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I think we need to name this room.
What are we gonna name it?
I don't know. Why don't you guys come up with a name? This is my bass studio.
Comment below the video and let us know what we should call this place.
Remember, this isn't just where we shoot drunken episodes of morning beers, but also I teach here. When it's not being used for alcohol, it's
purposes.
being used for education and some other stuff.
So you were saying with like Tony Gray's and
Tony Gray is an awesome guy. So I studied with Tony Gray for a while. I studied with I took lessons with a lot of guys. I think I took some lessons with Gerald Veasley. Mm-hmm. Guys that would come through, Patucci came through.
Sure.
So being in some places, you got to learn some really cool stuff. But to be honest with you, I learned way more from Matthew Garrison in my years after college than I ever did through college. College was a great experience. I networked. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't worth the money.
Well, I think it's a much more broader. It's a broader education in college. When you were actually learning from Matt Garrison, you're learning about your craft. Mm-hmm. You're learning like someone who's actually been a professional in that setting for so long. He knows that craft inside and out.
Yep.
That's what you need to do. Like, so if you really want to learn that craft, don't just go to like an all-around type of scenario. Put yourself. Dive right into the professionals.
Well, seek out the guys that you want to learn from. I mean, you know, I played in a band that opened for Pat Martino, so I spent about 8 or 9 hours with Pat Martino the one day. Morning beers.
I'm about ready to do this as soon as you're ready.
Go ahead, crack it open. I'm not feeling this so much. There's a little.
That was loud.
Don't you worry.
Quiet, Tiny.
Looks like you've cracked into that one already. Did you pregame?
No.
You didn't pregame? There's like what, a half a bottle in there?
No, there's another glass in there.
Looks like you pregame.
I did not.
You pregame?
I did not.
You fucker, you pregame.
I did not.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yes.
So seeking out the guys that you want to study with. Now, as a bass player, you know,
I did.
I studied with, you know, Pat Martino. I got a chance to take some lessons. I studied with Tom Kozik, who's part of that jazz mafia, right?
Yes.
I studied with him for about 2 years. I took a bunch of lessons with him as well, which he's a guitar player, so playing with a guitar player was awesome. Now, there was also a period where I studied with a guy named Lee Daniels. Lee Daniels was a student up at Berkeley of Mick Goodrich. Back when Pat Metheny, they were both students of Mick Goodrich at the same time. So I got to study with the guy who studied with Mick Goodrich at the same time as Pat Metheny.
Right.
So Lee Daniels, if
He's
you
killer.
are, yeah, he's killer. Like if you're in the Lehigh Valley and you want to understand jazz, skip the mafia, go right to Lee Daniels. He's at Hawks Music in Bethlehem. You want to look him up. Neither of us teach there, right?
No.
We're not
No, we
affiliated
don't.
with there at all. We actually teach at other places. But we're going to say Lee Daniels is the man. You want to study with him. Lee is awesome.
Especially for jazz guitar.
Oh my God. Or theory. Just jazz in general.
Anything in
I
that realm.
I got together with Lee yesterday and we were working through some stuff because I was just playing. It's funny because he's like my sensei.
Yeah.
You know, I was playing through because I've been ear training because I saw that Jeff Berlin video. Speaking of YouTube, follow Jeff Berlin too. I mean, whether you like or dislike him, and there seems to be a lot of people that are just hating on Jeff. Jeff is the fucking man.
He knows his shit.
He's a solid
But like
player.
one of the best things I think about Jeff is the fact that he's very truthful.
He is. And
He's
some people-
truthful and he doesn't pull any punches. He tells you like it is, and that's his opinion, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone should be entitled to have their own opinion, just
Well,
like
we're-
assholes.
Well, we're in a state right now that people aren't allowed to have an opinion.
No, I know.
That's
I know.
what the fuck is with that?
Facebook did that.
Fuck Facebook.
Fuck Facebook.
Facebook.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Facebook.
Fuck you, Facebook.
You don't agree with me? Fuck you. That's Facebook. The Facebook fuck you.
Morning beers are making me forget what's his face. What's the guy who did it? Who did Facebook? I can't remember. Morning beers make me forget.
Not Tom, because that's MySpace.
No, that's MySpace Tom.
Nobody gives a shit about that anymore.
Where are you, Tom?
We need to go back. I think we need to go back to MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace is such a happier place, wasn't it?
It was. Well, what was that social network? I mean, the only good part about that was Trent Reznor. You
Right.
know, he did the soundtrack for that.
Right. Yeah. Like the social network. That was all about Facebook. Right?
Yeah, which was a
But-
pile of shit.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like Tom was the shit because like Tom was like everybody wanted to know Tom.
You remember his profile was just him sitting on like a computer?
It was him at the whiteboard.
Yeah. Yeah, who was the asshole from Facebook?
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that fucker.
Fuck that dude.
Fuck that fucker. to
Comment
death.
his name below.
Yeah, fuck that fucker. I'm pointing at you, Facebook fucker.
Yeah, fuck that place, man. It's so much negativity on Facebook and whatnot. Like, I hate to have to share fucking anything on there. And now it's spammed with bots and stuff like that all the time. Like, I get all kinds of friend requests from all kinds of, like, Filipino women that want to just get to know me and then invite me to their chats constantly. It's like, I feel like a lucky guy, but I just delete them all.
Well, speaking of that, like videos now on Facebook are like, you go to watch somebody's video, and like 10 seconds in, you get it's monetized. There's a fucking commercial.
Yeah. So who's getting the money off that?
I don't know. That's a good question. Who is getting paid off that?
Yeah. If you have a monetized video, let us know. Are you getting the money for that? You put up a video, like, not expecting to get anything out of that shit, and they throw an ad on it?
Yeah, what's the deal with that? What is the deal
What?
with that?
Jerry!
Where is Jerry Seinfeld? Oh yeah, that's right. He's having coffee with comedians in cars, right?
Yeah, he's got his own great show.
We need Jerry Seinfeld. Actually, I'd rather have Larry David. I like Larry David better.
Do you?
Yeah.
See, I'm a fan of Seinfeld, except I've seen some of his like off air kind of like personality traits, and like he's very much kind of like douchey. He's kind of douchey.
In Seinfeld?
Like, yeah, he's kind of douchey to like the common folk, the people who actually made him his money and stuff like that. Like, I mean, like he definitely feels a little bit above them because like in comedians with cars drinking coffee, that whole show.
Yeah.
If you watch, I've watched like the entire thing on Netflix, and like there's a lot of points where people are kind of like talking to him, and he's just kind of like, please just go away. Like, and then maybe it's being cropped. Maybe they were there for 10 minutes, and at that point, I'd be like, please leave me the fuck alone.
I like the one with him and Obama in the car. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good. There was a bunch of them that I thought were pretty entertaining, but
yeah, that was my favorite. I mean, there's some people that just are very good at like presence-wise.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a good one. Not that I support or don't support anybody.
We're leaving politics out of this.
Yeah, fuck politics. That's for Facebook. Which reminds me that, the other day... So Facebook gives you... One of the things I love about Facebook, and this has changed in the last couple of years, is that time capsule. Every day you get that, the last year, last 2 years, last 3 years,
like
last
the time hop kind of thing?
Yeah, I love that. And when I was thinking, I mentioned this to my wife the other day. Imagine a bass player, married wife,
Yeah, wow. I don't know how you manage that.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? It's like magic. Woo! But think about this. All those guys that just have those constant fucking rants, those political rants, all the guys that I basically unfollow and unfriend,
right?
Because I just can't fucking stand hearing you anymore complain about politics. Get over yourself. Get over the fucking deal, man. It just fucking move on. Those guys, when they get that year, 2 years, 5 years, their shit's just gonna be political rants of them just being whiny and complaining about shit that they couldn't fucking change. Trump is the fucking president. We can't fucking change that. Move the fuck on.
I really need to jump in on this one for the fact that
Don't fucking care.
It's like, Trump is your fucking president. He is. Like, stop saying he's not your president, because he is your president.
Nobody likes it.
If you don't want him to be your president, then you need to try and get a visa to leave the country.
Or vote for somebody else.
Good luck. It's like, and at this point, wait a couple of years, and maybe he'll be voted out. But the fact is that he's probably going to end up staying. Well, there's too much.
There's two fucking shitty parties.
Yeah.
Vote for a third fucking party already, or a fourth. Add somebody else in there. They both fucking suck. You want to know why Trump is your fucking president? Because you had Hillary fucking Clinton running against him.
If you want to fuck up the system, you vote for the third party.
Fucking A.
Don't throw away your vote. Fucking vote third party.
Most countries have at least 11 parties. Why do we have two shitty parties? Republicans and Democrats.
It's old money. It's old fucking money.
Guess who's funding those assholes? The same fucking people. Do you think you're really so different by working for the Democrats or the Republicans? Guess what, asshole? You're working for the same fucking people.
Yeah, it's old money. That's all it is. It's old money just being exchanging hands.
Well, I always love the one that's like the new Democratic Party. Oh, they have nothing to do with Jim Crow. Bullshit. They're still Jim Crow. It's all bullshit. Get a third party. Stop voting for the same fucking idiots. Stop voting in.
Don't feel obligated. Don't feel obligated to vote for a party just because, like, your family or you or whatever political ties you might have. It's like, just read and listen to everybody's speeches and then vote educated.
Well, it's like the same people that wanted to vote for Bernie. It's like, I really want to have everything given to me. Well, it's got to come from somewhere. Who's going to pay for it?
Well,
where does the money come from?
And I think where he probably lost them is when he said, like, yeah, we're gonna have to pay for this. So we're gonna raise taxes, and we're gonna do this. It's like I want to do this, this, and this. So we're gonna have to raise taxes. That makes sense. But wait a minute, we have to pay more, and then we're gonna get free stuff. That doesn't make any sense. And
because it's not free. It's not free.
No, nothing in this world is ever going to be free. You're always going to give something or pay something. There's always something involved in it.
That's true. Whether it's your time, whether it's your effort, whether it's something,
doesn't matter.
There's always something involved in there. You got to pay for it. You got to pay it forward.
You got me all riled up now.
I know. I got your blood all angry up. I got the blood all angry up. I'm still on this first beer, dude.
Man, you're slowing down. I'm almost done with the second one.
What is the amount of alcohol in this shit? Oh, it's 9.5%. Holy shit.
This one is what was this one? This one was 11.
You're looking at a growler for the percentage?
Yeah.
Oh, they actually put it on. Whoa, holy shit, dude.
11.8. Yeah.
Well, giddy up.
Giddy up, son.
Giddy up. Morning beers. Wow, I can't believe we're doing a second one of these.
First one was kind of successful.
There's a need. There's a want.
People want the truth. The truth is out there.
Yeah. The beer files. There is an interesting aroma to this, huh?
It's good.
Wow, there's almost like a
You didn't even taste it yet.
I did.
Oh, you did.
It almost has like
it's a little flat though because I definitely had to have cracked it open at some point.
That's what I said.
I know.
I said you fucking pregame, you asshole.
I didn't realize. I just grabbed him out of the fridge. I'm like, here we go.
I told you he pregamed.
Guilty.
He morning beard before morning. Just wrong. I would say what you said. This is Weyerbacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's almost like a cognac.
Oh yeah.
You smell that in there?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely got like a boozy kind of a flavor to it. Almost kind of like do you remember like the 120 minute from like Dogfish Head?
Yes.
That has a boozy kind of like smell and taste to it.
Yeah.
Similar to this. I feel like this tastes better than like the 120 minute.
I would agree. I think that's really good. You know what we should do?
What?
So I was kicking this around. I think we should shoot an episode at a cigar bar or a cigar shop. For like because I know Cigars International.
Yep.
They do a show every week.
Oh, okay.
We could shoot either from Cigars International off of 191, or we could shoot from Epic. Epic is in Allentown, but they got a really cool room that we could actually bring some beers and have some cigars and shoot a show.
Okay.
That might be kind of cool. If any of you guys want to join us too, if we could do this into a round table.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because I know a friend of mine, Joe Fazio. Joe.
I think it's a soft A. Fazio.
I think it's...
Is it a strong A?
From Just Base It. You want to check him out too. Joe is a great guy, and I know he wants to join us. And we're hoping to get him maybe from Music Fest, maybe from the Wooden Match, maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great spot.
That'd be pretty cool too. So he would come in and kind of like go off the rails with us.
If it's nice, we can sit out on the patio there. We can set it all up out there. That'd be really nice.
That was the plan, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be inside,
yeah, absolutely. Because it's the first day in like 7 days it hasn't fucking rained here, right?
I know. It's been a monsoon of a rainy season here.
Sure has, man. So, we've gone way off the tracks.
Man.
So,
education.
Education was the topic. So we were saying that really the biggest part of this was, using those other options, because we were talking about YouTube players last session.
Yep.
Last time we got together for morning beers. And we're saying that there's some YouTube players out there that are making a living just doing YouTube. Now there are great guys, and we said that we mentioned Adam and we mentioned Rick.
Yep.
And they are really good sources for education. Now, whether you're going to college, and I want you to really think deeply about this, because what are you going to get from a master's? Even undergraduate. Like, I have an undergraduate degree, and I went back and started doing my education and master's for education. And should do it then. Morning beers.
Morning beers.
There's no pop on that one though.
No, this is a brand new one.
That's sad. When you say that education is it's kind of a double-edged sword.
That's a fresh one.
Yeah, there's some head on there.
Head.
There's head. Education is a big part of this, and when you're studying, when you're training, when you're learning, you really need to have those resources. And I don't really think that college is the way anymore. I think it's almost a detriment.
I would agree with you on that. Just because, like, I took a semester over at Kutztown because...
Did you do one or two?
I did one because that was when, like, my wife got pregnant and whatnot, and so then, like, we decided that it would be... Well, actually, I decided. She wanted me to continue to go, but I thought it would... And I'm glad I made this decision to stay home and be more supportive in that sense, because... being away from home that much, because I was going to school during the day and then I was teaching at night, and so it was too much. I remember our conversations, and we would talk, and I'd be like, dude, I was like, is this really what you want to do? Well, here's the thing, I absolutely did. I absolutely did want to go and get the experience, because it's something that I always wanted to be able to do, and I was at a point in my life where I could, so I did. And
granted.
And what I learned there was a lot of what I had already kind of learned over the years. It was basically, yes, this man helped me learn a lot of things that I had needed in the past and stuff like that. And also, like, a lot of personal experiences and, like, live experiences and just booking my own, like, performances and stuff like that. I had a real.
So did you learn any of that though from college?
Fuck no. and here's the thing, like, I had experienced booking gigs, playing gigs, understanding theory, all these things from outside of a college like campus. And then when I went to the college campus, there were some phenomenal players there. There were some guys that were fantastic, and they were coming to me like, "Oh, so you're already like a professional because you're like playing out." I'm like, I guess. I don't really consider myself a professional in that sense at the time. I was kind of like, well, you know, I play gigs here and there. And then they're going on to me like, well, how much should I book it for? Somebody asked me to play like a 3-hour gig. I was thinking like $50 was good. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
so
like,
that is what colleges should be fucking doing, is actually setting you up to understand how to book.
Okay.
What did I say to you as you walked in the door today? What did I complain about? See if he remembers. There's been a few beers.
Morning beers.
What was the first thing I said to you? I hate fucking booking gigs.
Yes, you hate fucking booking gigs. That's what it was.
And colleges don't teach you any of this shit.
Yes.
Trying to organize
a
band is like herding cats, and nobody fucking teaches this shit. How do I organize a band? How do I ask for the right amount of money? How do I even promote a fucking band?
You know what we need to do? This is something that I emailed Northampton Community College about, and they did not respond back to me about, which I am furious about, the fact that they wouldn't take this up. A music business course about booking gigs, about like
selling yourself as a
selling
product.
yourself with an electronic press kit. That has a huge value. I think we should do that.
I think that's a good idea.
Now,
you know who would actually be behind that?
Who?
Bakiti.
Yeah?
We should get in touch with him. Yeah.
Yes. That would be a great endorser for the show.
Because he knows exactly how to do that stuff too. Because he's a working guy.
Absolutely. I think that'd be a good one for when we have him here.
We gotta get him in.
All right. So to finalize on this whole like Kutztown experience and thing like that. All right. So the kids play at the K-Town Pub, which is a local pub right next to the college. Now, the problem I have with this is the fact that they are booking the bands for like 3 to 4 hours that evening, and a few of the students had asked me to go and sit in as their trio or their 4-piece or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you should come and play with us. It'd be a great time. I was like, okay, cool. What does it pay? And they're like, oh, well, we don't get paid. So wait, you're gonna go and you're gonna play for 3 to 4 hours, and you're not going to get a dime out of it. Well, you're bringing your friends, you're bringing your family.
Yeah.
They're buying food, they're buying booze. So the venue's making money. Absolutely, the venue's making money. You're giving away your material for your performance, your talent for free. So fuck that shit and fuck that, because that's not cool.
I agree. This almost goes back to our concept of playing in New York. Like, what is the point of playing in New York? Because you don't make any money playing in New York. You're just playing in New York to say you played in New York. The same thing happens with playing gigs, even in our area. It's like you're just playing gigs to play gigs. You know, it's all right. That's okay. You gotta get your craft together, and you gotta shoot some videos. You gotta figure out, how do I get my stuff out there? How do I fine tune it? Mm-hmm. And you gotta figure out what you're doing. And that's okay. That's all part of that. You have to do that. But at the same time, I mean, Moravian did the same thing. They used to have like the Confetti Cafe. Mm-hmm. They used to get people playing there for free, and I think they had some of their students playing at the Hotel Bethlehem for free.
Do they realize that their students like pay for rent and like pay for books and stuff like that?
No.
Like, you know, like they don't realize that?
Well, when I was a student, I was working and going to school, and like the
parents are paying for it.
Well,
so they're there for it.
Not everybody. I was
obviously.
working and gigging and also going to college at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember a professor saying to me, he's like, well, you gotta get your priorities straight. Where's your time spent? He's like, you should be at the practice room. It's like, dude, I'd rather be on the bandstand actually working my shit than being in a practice room where it's just me. But college is it really is a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money. It's not even a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money. There's aspects of college that are great. The socialization element of college is awesome. However, the price point that they are fucking you for is bullshit.
Well, like, just to kind of keep moving with that, I think Adam Neely even talks a lot about that, where he went to Berkeley and all that, and he said that...
Went to NYU, too, for his master's.
Yeah, so, like, but he always talks about how the community there is great experience, but, like, do you actually need it?
Well,
Not really. It depends on what you're trying to do.
I call it... It's almost like a bubble of disinformation. There's a bubble of disinformation that comes from college. When you are in college, you believe everything your professors say. There's this reality this reality spectrum that runs that isn't based in reality. And you know, I have ex-Lehigh professors that live next door to me. Lehigh University, look it up. You guys probably know it. People live inside this bubble that doesn't exist. They think and they feel outside of what is actual reality, and it just doesn't make any sense. If you are a working musician, as soon as you graduate, you have 6 months and that bill comes due. You are being fucked hardcore. So you better hope that there's some lube there somewhere, because otherwise you are going to really feel that. So hopefully you have some money, you have a way to figure that out, because it is a hardcore situation that you may not be able to live with. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're a working musician. It is almost better to seek out somebody. Seek out that guy that you want to play with. Start with your instrument, but move on from your instrument. Study with guys who play other instruments. Study with horn players. You know, I remember I studied with a couple guys, and I studied with brain farting right now because of beers. You know,
beers.
Morning beers.
Morning beers.
I studied. He was a professor over at Muhlenberg a number of years, because Gary Burton was there when I was a kid, and I used to go and play in the big band when Gary Burton was there. And then there was a different guy that was there, and it was like, you know, he was like, you know, focus on your craft. Don't focus on the bullshit. And there's so much bullshit that you have to kind of get over. And I didn't realize who Gary Burton was at the time.
Well, like, the one thing that we've both agreed on that was, like, really great about, like, college with, like, the music industry is the fact that, like, the community and, like, just kind of, like, the networking and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. There is another great way to network in order to be able to play in the area. It's not every bass player's dream, but go to the open mics. Ugh. And hold on, let me finish. Go to the open mics, seek out the actual talent there, and those are the guys that are typically booking in the area. If you want to get paid, those are the guys to try and, like, attach yourself to, so where you can do a duo, something to where you could build off and do a trio or something like that, to where you can actually make a little bit of income off of this. Like, you can network from there out. Like, that was one of the ways that I got started.
I don't know, man.
I got started with open mics.
I know you did, because you did that open mic thing.
Yeah,
where you traveled around.
Yeah, and like where I traveled around, and like I met a lot of different people that way. And one of the things that really helped me, and not even that, I wouldn't say that necessarily helped me. I would say that, like, me just being in the scene of, like, open mics, I met a lot of the guys who are doing, like, solo acoustic acts or this or that, and maybe wanted to have a backing, like somebody to back them up. You know, in which case, as a bassist, you know, that's easy money.
It's normal.
Singer-songwriter type stuff, so if they book it for $200, well, that's $100 in your pocket right there. You know, like, so, like that's an easy way to kind of get into a scene and then network from there. So you start there, but then you go elsewhere. You can't stay in the open mic circuit because those guys aren't doing anything but playing the same 2 to 3 places. You have to branch out from that.
You know, it's funny. I used to have this idea of this show back in the day of, like, open mics, like, going up and getting these people, like, before they go on, and they're like, oh, I'm so ready to do this, and like all that bullshit that they lead up to, because
like American Idol.
Yeah, but like leading up, like
you
all
would be like the Ryan or like Ryan Seacrest forehead.
Yeah, the Ryan Seacrest. But these people, like, oh, you know, there's a whole scene of the open mic scene, which is like basically free entertainment again for bars. Think about what this shit is. You're giving your shit away.
Yes.
But
yes,
you're right. You're right. Networking is a big part. Networking is a huge part of this.
But that's free networking if you go out there and you see the guys performing like, hey, you were really great. Let me give you my name and number. I'm a bassist, blah, blah, blah. I would like to work with you.
However, you know, what I find this cringeworthy is when I always reach out to people and they're like, well, we're gonna practice like 9 times a week.
Nope.
Like, no, just send me your shit. You know, there's recently somebody reached out to me because they have a big band that they're trying to put together. I'm like, oh, really? You're a vocalist? Great. It's like, well, what are you doing? And they're like, well, I'm putting together a big band situation. I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, what does that entail? And they're like, well, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, all right, well, what's the rehearsal looking like that you're doing this? If there's anything more than one rehearsal, I'm like, yeah, no. Because, you know, do you have a book together? That's the biggest thing. Do you have a book? Can you give me your book? Because I can read down your book, no fucking problem. So once you have your book together, you know, send that out. We'll have one rehearsal, we'll go out and start doing some shows. Because you're not playing all the fucking time. You're not playing every fucking day, right? So, let's be honest, you're playing like once or twice a week.
Right.
If that. Maybe a month.
Yeah,
maybe
you're
once
lucky.
a month.
That's a really good band if you're playing twice a week.
Yeah, if you're playing once a month or twice a month, that's great. But you don't need to have your guys in your place every fucking day of the week. That's like a turnoff right there. It's like limp dick straight away. Right?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I think what a lot of people don't understand is professional musicians. They don't understand if someone's a professional, they're going to come to a rehearsal for a gig. You know, like that's pretty much what we're giving you. We're giving you liberty to say like, yeah, we'll do a rehearsal for the one gig. Don't expect us to come 3 times before the gig.
Or pay us.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to have me there, pay me for that. If it's your gig, pay me for it. Because I'm not going to come for free.
That's a good point.
And also, you know, here's the other thing about this is that if you're a working band, figure out what your dates are, because normally your guys are working with other bands. If you're a working musician, you're working with several bands. So I have to kind of work that into my network of what I'm doing. Because you have other gigs that you're doing. You're teaching, you're working a non-arts job. I'm going to say that again, a non-arts job, whether you're walking dogs, selling computers, teaching people how to use your computers, you know, something like that.
Handling baggage like yours.
Yeah, I know a guy who does that too. I teach you how to actually edit this shit together. You know, that's my job at Apple. I teach you how to be artistic. I'm a creative pro.
Whoa!
Which is pretty cool. I mean, Apple is probably the best place to work. I love that place. I will never ever say a bad thing about them. They are the best company to work for. I love them with all my heart. They are the best company. But they allow me to be artistic. But as a musician, outside of there, you need to pay me for my time. You need to pay me for what I do. And I'm not at your beck and call. I'm not your roadie. I'm not your go-to guy for all your bullshit. That's just the way it is. So, I think it's time to kind of wrap this thing up.
I think so. Yeah, I would say, like, with one final thing, is that I was recently reached out to about like performing for one of the plays and whatnot, like in a show.
I've done that.
Yeah, and the problem with that.
They don't pay shit.
Well, yeah, and the fact is that they want so many rehearsals for only 3 dates.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you're giving me the music. You want 5 rehearsals and 3 performances, like, you know.
Lucky, that's short.
Yeah, well, it was that for $400, like garbage.
3 rehearsals for 4 rehearsals.
5.
Oh.
5 rehearsals, on teaching days. All days that you would normally be getting paid.
I would give them 2 and tell them you do 3 for $400. Yeah, we're drinking on a you know, well, it's not really AM anymore. It's not morning anymore.
No, it's afternoon.
So it's brunch beers.
We're brunching.
But I think you're right. I think the whole deal is basically know where you're putting your money. Mm-hmm. Because that's really the whole thing about this. Everything we said could be summed up to know where you're spending your money.
Yeah.
Know what you're putting your money into. Are you putting it into education? If you're putting it into education, are you putting it into the right places? Are you spending it on something that you're going and taking English classes to be a professional musician? Sure, there's elements of that are incredible. However, do you really need to pay, $100,000 to be a musician to have a great,
No.
English degree? Makes no sense. You can almost get between private lessons and YouTube sources that actually make sense, like Adam Neely and Rick Beato. You can put these things together and actually have a really good understanding of what works without being in debt to the point where you can't play. You can't play. You can't play. If you have that much debt, you got to figure out how you're going to pay that student loan and pay for your rent.
Bar and restaurants don't give a shit if you have a college degree.
No.
They don't give a shit.
Actually, nobody gives a shit if you have a college degree.
Nobody gives a shit. If you have a name and a reputation, that weighs more than your college degree.
Do you think that Kamasi Washington gives a shit if you have a degree?
Fuck no.
You think Wynton Marsalis gives a shit if you have a college degree?
I don't think anybody gives a shit.
No, they want to know you can fucking play.
That's it.
Yeah. So, Jeff Berlin, listen to him. Listen to Jocko.
Yeah.
Listen to Ray Brown. Listen to fucking Ray Brown. That dude was the fucking man. Maybe have a few less beers and do some ear training.
Yeah.
Take private lessons. Study with people. Using YouTube as a resource is what it's for. Sure, you can get something out of a book, but actually being able to ask somebody. I still ask somebody.
It helps.
It does. And that sounds like bullshit, right? I said I still ask somebody. Of course, we all ask somebody, because nobody's a fucking master.
No.
Well, Lee's kind of a master, but...
But you know what? I think you could make it up and it would sound like that was correct.
I like studying with Lee. He's the man.
So
So what's our moral of the story?
The moral?
Yeah, we need a moral.
I guess it would be
Joe.
to know, like you said, know where your money is being spent.
Yeah.
Hatchback vehicles.
Yes.
Maybe that colleges don't really understand the music business anymore. They're not
preparing you. Yeah, they're not really preparing you for what you need.
They're preparing you to be able to play the most difficult music, but they're not preparing you to be actually be able to sell yourself as a musician.
True. That's correct. Yeah, so they're not actually helping you to put together a press kit, which you really need.
Right.
None of them are doing that. Maybe Berkeley is. Berkeley's a little bit better with that, but most colleges are not doing that. They're not actually helping you to leave college with a CD or anything that's actually helping you to score a gig.
Yeah. And I think in the future, we're going to do a thing where we go and we try to express how to sell yourself as a musician.
That would be a good idea. However, we're only working in the Lehigh
charge
Valley,
for that.
though. We're only working in the Lehigh Valley, though.
But how you sell yourself works universally.
That's true.
Because it's a salesmanship skill.
It is. It's being able to know what you're peddling,
Exactly.
And believing in what you're peddling.
Know your product and know what you're selling.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I agree with that. So let's see what happens with that. So again, leave us comments about what you would like to talk about.
Yeah.
Remember, we're going to have guests. And we'd love to do a round table on this too, right? Have a round table of guys who really want to talk about what's going on, because I don't really think that we see what's going on. It's almost under the rug. And it would be even better if we did this at a place that either had food or cigars.
Ooh, yeah, both would be fantastic. Pancakes and cigars. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there was an IHOP and a World of International Cigars.
Cigars and pancakes. I don't know which flavor is more important.
It's definitely the syrup and the cigar.
Ooh. Maple flavored cigars.
Yes.
I think you're onto something there. All right, guys. So this was it for Morning Beers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're coming at you with all things hop infused.
Take care.
Hops infused.
Have a good one.
Bye.